I moved to D.C. in the aftermath of September 11th, in the aftermath of the attacks, and I was in the public health service. I was temporarily transferred here, and then was permanently assigned here shortly afterwards. So I moved here permanently in February of 2002. My wife Miaochun is a professor of Chinese language at George Washington University. My son Kai, who's five months old. He's not working yet, but we're devising future plans. For Obama's inauguration, I mean, the city was just, everybody was, super happy, and there was a number of different so-called inaugural balls, aside from the official one, that you could get tickets to. Some of them were free, and everybody was sort of, everybody was just in a fantastic mood. And I remember the day of the inauguration, it was freezing, but you just saw people on every block. There were people who were crying tears of happiness. I don't remember much of Obama's second inauguration. And the Trump inauguration, I was still, to be honest, I'm not registered with either party, but I wasn't a fan of the president, and I was still reeling, I think, from the results of the election. But in every case, of course, you had some kind of pomp and circumstance and stands being set up and all that kind of stuff, and not the feeling you feel now, where everybody is either planning to stay, locked in their house, or they're leaving town because people are worried that something might happen. I guess it was a few weeks before that there was a sort of Proud Boys demonstration, and we were completely unaware of this, and we often go for a walk on the weekend for an hour or so. We decided, well, let's go down around the White House, and we started walking and probably went about 4 blocks and started running into groups of people who were, no one was wearing masks, and, I just had this feeling like, we'll often see one person not wearing a mask, but when you see a group of people not wearing masks, you're assuming that it's a political statement of some kind, and we just kind of turned around and got out of there, and it was only later that we found out that there had been violence and stabbings that had occurred, half mile from my home. So on the 6th, when this happened, I think I was not aware of it until my next door neighbor there texted me and said, "What the hell is happening?" And I said, "What are you talking about?" And he said, they're rioting and moving into the Capitol. And that was the first I heard about it. And I got on the news and saw what was going on. And of course, I can't say I was, overly worried for my personal safety, because there was nothing happening in the streets around our house. But I went inside and we drew the shades and drew the blinds and stayed in the house. And did not go about our normal business, because we just thought, what if this turns into something much, much worse? So that's what we did on the 6th. We saw a lot of troops for the Black Lives Matter demonstrations. They had National Guardsmen and women on street corners, blocking off different intersections. I think the thing that's different now is that I don't think that anybody at the time thought, oh, these Black Lives Matter protests are sort of a threat to our way of life, or a threat to the nation. Whereas certainly with the Capitol invasion, the Capitol riot, people felt like these are folks who are trying, even in a bumbling way, to stop the process of government, to overthrow the government. And now, of course, we're like, well, there's going to be 25,000 National Guard troops, and so everybody should be safe. But then you read that, as I was mentioning, that the FBI is having to vet each of the National Guards, men and women, to make sure that they're not actually sympathetic to overthrowing the government. So it's, I'm not, I think I'll sleep okay tonight, but at the same time, you think, well, it's the old thing about, that could never happen here. And you realize, it could never happen here until the moment when it actually does.